Hey guys, Darcy here, and today we're going to talk about clip gain versus trim automation versus fader automation. Let's jump into it. All right, so we have Luna open here, and this is just a vocal that was brought in recently for myself to mix in a client song. I just brought it in this session because I wanted to showcase some stuff about how I use Luna when it comes to dealing with like gain issues and different ways of solving it. I'm a big fan of track automation, but there's a couple of things I always find that like when you're setting up your gain staging, you see problems like this, and you want to balance your levels. That sometimes you just jump right to that fader automation. You end up kind of like limited and blocked later when you want to use like a control surface to change the level on that track. So the first thing that we can look at here with Luna is that we can just split this up into multiple different clips so that we can gain them individually. We could select a section like a bar here, go Command E, and then it'll break that, and then we can just gain that particular part. And to make sure that it sounds good, we can do some fading in between the clips. And if we didn't like a particular area, we can bring our mouse to the bottom. Oh, look, it's off screen for you. Bring the mouse to the bottom of the clip. Maybe I'll make this a little bit shorter. And hold Command if we have snap on, drag it to a part that we feel is good to do that crossover point, and we can do it as such, right? Grab another clip, hold that Command, bring it to a better crossover point, right? And then we can get all of these pieces kind of in line. If this one here we feel is a little bit high, we can hit delete on that area there, do that little crossover point, and then gain it up and down, right? So that's our first thing, and that's something I always find is really important to do, really straightforward. It'll set you up really well. And then if you are happy with all your clips, I'll tend to leave like an edits version, duplicate that, call a comp version, and then with all of these go Option Shift 3, and then I'll combine it into a new track. And obviously that's not a completed job, so I'm just going to back that up. So now let's say, okay, that's clip gain is great for taking large chunks and making them louder or smaller. But what if we have places like, for instance, in here where the volume is increasing and decreasing? Okay, so we want to automate that. So your typical approach here is to go grab your volume automation, grab some point here, and just maybe I'm just gonna actually grab an area, drag that down, drag that up, that kind of a thing. The problem I find now is that because I use a fader port, that I want to, be able to manually with my hands actually change that gain and listen to it in real time later on. And once this is automated, it goes against that. So let's back this up, Command Z all the way. What I like to do is actually on mono signals, use the utility trim. So up here we have the utility, and we have a trim that we can go up and down in volume with. If I put that on the automation track, you'll see it going up and down. Now, the thing is that like that's great for an overall pass, but you can also use this the way you would automate your fader. So this is where you are automating your gain in. Now, obviously, if you have plugins in your chain, you are going to be gaining and decreasing into those plugins, so you have to keep that in mind. So for instance, let's say I wanted to, for whatever reason, I'm going to gain in like the opposite direction of this pass. I want this part to be louder, right? I could hold Command, get that into a good spot, and we could go into that. So we're just trying to level it. So from this perspective, when you're using the trim automation, it's about either leveling things out or running something hotter into a plugin. So this I like because now I'm doing the similar thing to that clip gain later, or earlier, sorry, but I'm actually setting myself up for, again, an even vocal. And then this leaves me to go back to my volume, you grab my fader, I'm going to reach forward for this, and be able to, physically, manually go up and down with that, get that into a nice place. And then later on, when, the client gives me particular feedback, we want a particular vibe or feel, then after all of my inserts, now I can automate that fader in such a way that's more creative and is less about actually the balancing and setting everything up to be even and to be clear. You can use all three of these throughout your signal path to, really control things. And I'm a big fan of, you start with that clip, you do some trim automation if you need to, and you leave your fader with some freedom until later in your mix. So that way, when you actually automate that, you're already fairly certain of those levels that you're starting with, and you don't end up having to do, like, you have let's say some automations like this, some horrible automations, and then you realize, oh, this whole thing needs to go up and down like, a decibel, and now you're trying to grab all your automation. Sometimes that can get kind of wonky, so you just kind of want to leave that alone. That's just how I like to approach it. For me, trim automation and clip gain is like a pre-gain staging step. It allows me to get things into a good even place so that when I'm doing my gain staging with that main fader, things are sounding good and I don't have to automate very early on. I can automate later, usually in a more creative perspective. If you guys found this helpful, let me know that in the comments. Anything I can help you with, let me know that as well. Do all the algorithmic stuff, and otherwise, have yourself a good day.